Hello, vinyl community. I'm Gary, and this is Physical Format Rock and Roll. Thank you so much for tuning in. So I wanted to do an episode of vinyl finds since I haven't done one for a little while. And this episode is everything that I will show, which is not that much, but everything that I'm going to show is $5 or under. So I didn't pay more than $5 for any of these records, because I'm kind of a cheapskate anymore. So, I was also kind of inspired by Don over at That Old Goat's Vinyl, because I really like watching his channel, and he is always showing bargains that he finds, and he finds some really cool records. So, that's kind of why I made this episode like that. Inspired by him. I am also an old goat. First up, I have Jethro Tull, Thick as a Brick. This is their 1972 album, which is a follow-up to their classic Aqualung album. This album is, it's not quite as heavy as Aqualung is, but it's more progressive. It's more of a progressive rock type album, and it's kind of supposed to be a bit of a joke about making fun of concept albums in a way, because this is basically one long song. I mean, it's not the same, but it's all supposed to be like one long song. They've got all this, and this stuff is still with it, with this record, by the way. Like I said, I only paid a few bucks for it. It's got all these paper things in there, and it talks about how, like, maybe this 8-year-old kid wrote all of this, like he's some kind of genius. So there's kind of a joke going on. Of course, Jethro Tull, very British in their humor and in their music. I really like this album a lot. This is pretty cool. Jethro Tull is such a different kind of band. I won't take it out of there, but the record's in pretty good shape. It's not perfect. I will admit, I know when I start out side 2, it has some pops going on. Until it gets going, that's on Reprise records. But once the music gets going, I don't really notice it. So it's definitely worth it. This is a cool record. Just like I say, you know, if you're not familiar with Jethro Tull, it's kind of hard to describe their music. They do have flutes in their music, but this one has some really odd time signatures and just some weird sounds on it. But it works. It works. It's not like weird just for the sake of being weird. So that's my first one, 1972, Jethro Tull. Next up would be from 1981. Actually, this would be the second album that she released in 1981. And I'm talking about Emmylou Harris. This is Cimarron. There's the back. You can see this is kind of before she went completely gray. She's got a little bit of gray showing up there. I really like Emmylou Harris. I just think she has such a unique voice, and she interprets other people's songs so well. And as you can see, this is in fantastic shape. This record is, and it was only a few bucks too. On side 1 or side 2, it starts out with Born to Run and A Price You Pay, and you're saying, oh, Born to Run, that's Springsteen? No, it's not. But Price You Pay is. She does Price You Pay by Bruce Springsteen off of The River, and does a good job of it. This album is pretty much country. You know, some of hers are more folk than they are country. I think this leans a little more on the countryside, but I like it. Sounds great. Cimarron, Emmylou Harris. Next up, from 1982, have the debut album from Vandenberg. Of course, this is Adrian Vandenberg. Not perfect. You can see it's got the jacket's a bit beat up there. But the album itself is, it's on that cool, I love that Atco label, but it's in great shape, really good shape. But the thing is, I will admit, I I don't really care for this album that much. Luckily, I think I maybe paid $2 or something for it. So, I mean, it's a bargain as far as it's in great shape and everything. But I'm not a big fan of it, so I'll probably just trade it back in since it's in good shape. You know, I wouldn't want to trade in a record that's in crap shape. And maybe somebody else will want it. So, not going to keep Vandenberg. Sorry if you're a fan of Adrian Vandenberg. I mean, yeah, that's the only album of theirs I had. The rest of them might be great. I don't know. Next up is a soundtrack to one of my favorite movies of all time, The Natural, with Robert Redford and basically an all-star cast. This is one of my favorite sports movies of all time, one of my favorite baseball movies. It's just a great movie in general. I love it. Randy Newman does the music on this, and that album is in great shape too. I won't pull it out of that, but trust me, it's in really good shape. Next up, and this is probably my real keeper out of this, and this is the one that actually did cost me $5, and that is The Unforgettable Fire by U2. I think most of you are familiar with this album. This is probably my favorite U2 album. So with War being a close second. I like earlier U2, and to me this is I really like this album. I like the sound of it. Very dark sounding album. Still had the sleeve and everything, and the record is in pretty good shape there. So really happy to find a copy of this. Gosh, I think when it goes, you know, it has the song Bad on here. Bad and Seconds off of War, a couple of my favorite U2 songs of all time. So I love that. Bad and The Indian Summer Sky, those two songs back to back are just one of the best 1-2 punches that U2 ever had. And I can still remember when they did the song Bad at Live Aid, and it was kind of like that really did something there. That really set them apart. That was truly one of the highlights of the first Live Aid, and it was kind of like it sent them into superstardom. I don't know, for those of you that remember Bono. Of course, that's when Bono still wore his heart on his sleeve, right? And we loved him for it back then. Didn't seem pretentious at all. It was great. It was a great moment in rock and roll history, and I will always love that album. I'm not much into U2 these days, but that album, that's a keeper for sure. So very happy to get it. Anyway, those are my vinyl finds for $5 or under. Hopefully, I've still got a backlog of some I'll be able to show here. Maybe I won't wait so long next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. I'm Gary. This is Physical Format Rock and Roll. Till the next time, my friends, I will see you down the road.